Welcome everyone. Welcome to Learning Another Language, quick notes on self-learning. I'm Professor Stephen J. Hall from Sunway University, and I'd like to share some quick notes on self-learning and also say a farewell to our departing students from this semester of the Intensive English Programme at Sunway University. I'd like to talk about working out what to learn in English language because it is a complex language made up of many other parts of languages and has a long history. So it's a real fruit salad. It's a real stew. It's a crazy rojak of mixed up things. So we have to work out what to learn while we build vocabulary. So I'm going to focus on quick hints for building vocabulary and setting up for this time of blended learning. Now, there are about 250,000 words in English, according to a concise Oxford Dictionary. And my God, that's impossible. It's impossible to learn. So we have to choose the frequent, useful words. Now, with about 6,000 words, you can get away with 98% of what you want to do in English language. And maybe everyday words of 2,000 useful words, you can do most conversation things. So you need the frequent useful words, such as we find on the academic word list that we use in IEP at Sunway. And really it's about also including the words from your field of study. Yep, your field of study, what you need to do. Because people choose their own words for whatever they want to do. Take a look at Donald Trump's Twitter feed. This is a wordgram. If you have a look at it, the large words are the words he likes the most, like great, will, president, Trump, fake. His wife's name is left out on the edge there, the smaller ones. He doesn't use that so often. So we all choose the words for whatever we want to do. But it's important to think about how do we get that vocabulary? Well, one of the ways that's very useful is to read a lot and read in different ways. Reading for pleasure is important, extensive reading, but so is speed reading if you want to develop fluency in reading. You want the input, as well as good listening. So take note of these resources from my professor, Paul Nation, because they're very useful. They're there on the web and they're free. And of course, vocab learning also means making pictures in your mind through spaced, significant repetition. I'm going to talk about spaced, significant repetition later, but it is important. So if you are learning about a sport or learning about many things, pictures, images help as well. Now, we're all Netzians now. In other words, everything's online. So we shouldn't ignore the mobile assisted language learning that is available on the internet for free and on your phone, importantly, if you've got a not so good computer connection. So through mobile assisted language learning, we have access to things like phone apps. Applications like Duolingo, they start off free, and there are many of these, and they help us by giving us what we all need in language learning. Spaced, significant repetition, That means we need to meet a word more than once. We need images. We need to feel rewarded. And we need it in chunks, and we need these regular input before we get to the output side of things. So listening's really important. Music helps a lot, as does reading. But one of the other things is to do selfies, not selfies, but sound selfies. Record yourself, video yourself. Be afraid or be enchanted. I was going to say be enjoying, yes. So make recording selfies and be surprised. Listen to yourself. We always sound different because we are listening through the bones in our head. And so how we sound to others is quite different from ourselves. Then let's turn to the output that we're going to need. And this is not just WhatsApps and short chunks of text. Increasingly, we need to go into longer texts. And to do that, it helps if we question who we're writing for and why. And it doesn't mean cut and paste, because all the universities and colleges know about this problem. So it's getting the vocab to have the original words. Before we write, be someone who knows you'll make mistakes. It's how we learn. If I write academically, the editors can send it back, tell me to correct this and correct that. So trying and practicing with writing is just as important as practicing with listening and speech and reading. Now, writing is difficult, but you've really just got to dive in and do it and learn from times when you're not clear with communication, and use the resources that are already built into such things as the word processor, where you have grammar checks, you have thesaurus. The thesaurus can give you the synonyms, so use those available resources when you're writing. Remember, though, you need the vocab. So build your vocabulary. And the ways to do that, to answer the question, is spaced significant repetition. Let me say that again. Space out the times you meet a word, because you probably need to meet it about 7 times before it becomes part of your productive use. Make it varied and fun. Listen to music. Music's great. And work with workable targets. How many words am I learning today? How am I going to learn them? Am I going to use flashcards? Am I going to listen and write them down? Am I going to draw a picture that matches it? Find varied ways to establish the traces in the brain. The semantic networks is the formal word. Use workable targets and play with reading, music, and online, and keep learning. It's not just in one intensive English program at Sunway University. It's not just in one program. It's ongoing. So, what are my goals of language learning today? Not tomorrow, today. What are your goals? Because without you setting your goals, there will not be the learning, because it depends on you. So thank you, language learners. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this. And thank you to those who've been part of the intensive English program at Sunway University. I hope you find this useful. I hope you keep listening and reading and doing some recording selfies, sound selfies, and videos. After all, we all like to see ourselves, don't we? Haha. But it can be a useful part of language learning as well. Thank you very much. Stay safe and stay well.